everyone, my name is Kharen from Pamantasan and Lucid ng Pasig, and I'm going to discuss about the activities for chapters 11 and 12. Chapter 11, the managerial decisions in competitive markets. So number one is discuss fully what the market structure is, cite an example. So market structure refers to the nature and degree of competition in the market for goods and services. The structures of market, both for goods market and service market, are determined by the nature of competition prevailing in a particular market. For example, in a monopolistic competition, the market for cereals is a monopolistic competition. The products are all similar but slightly differentiated in terms of taste and flavors. To explain the following characteristics of a perfect competition. First is the price taking. A perfectly competitive firm is a price taker, which means that it must accept the equilibrium price at which it sells goods. If a perfectly competitive firm attempts to charge even a tiny amount more than the market price, it will be unable to make any sales. Production of a homogeneous or perfectly standardized product. Perfect competition can only occur when consumers perceive the products of all producers to be equivalent. Therefore, it can only occur when the industry output is a commodity, otherwise known as a standardized product. Next is the barriers to entry and exit. The majority of perfectly competitive industries allow firms to easily enter and exit the industry. The arrival of new firms into an industry is referred to as a market entry. Market entry is enabled by the absence of obstacles posed by government regulation or low startup cost. The departure of firms out of an industry is referred to as a market exit. Firms can easily exit the market if there are no additional costs attributable to shutting down the business. Next is how is price of a product or service determined under perfect competition. Briefly describe the demand curve of a perfectly competitive firm. In order for firms to generate maximum profits, they must determine their optimal output to produce. In a perfect competition, firms produce an output quantity where the marginal cost of the last unit produced is equal to the marginal revenue of the product. For a price-taking firm, the marginal revenue is equal to the market price. It is because no firm can affect the market price. Therefore, the additional revenue generated by producing one more unit is the market price. An individual firm faces a perfectly elastic demand curve. The price-taking firm's demand curve is equal to its marginal revenue. The demand and marginal revenue curve can be illustrated by a horizontal line drawn at a market price. Next is what is profit maximizing output level of a perfectly competitive firm in the short run? So in the short run, managers must make two decisions: produce or shut down. If shut down, produce no output and hires no variable inputs. If shut down, firm losses amount equal to TFC. If produce, what is the optimal output of level? If firm does produce, then how much? Produce amount that maximizes economic profit. In the short run, the firm incurs costs that are unavoidable and must be paid even if output is zero. Variable costs that are avoidable if the firm chooses to shut down. In making the decision to produce or shut down, the firm considers only the avoidable variable cost and ignores fixed costs. So, from our textbook, answer comprehensively item number 3 of applied problems on page 441. All city realtors. The manager of all city realtors wants to hire some real estate agents to specialize in selling housing units acquired by the Resolution Trust Corporation or the RTC in its attempt to bail out the savings and loan industry. The commission paid by the RTC to the company to sell these homes is a flat rate of 2,000 per unit sold, rather than the customary commission that is based on the sale price of a home. The manager estimates the following marginal product schedule for real estate agents dealing in government-owned housing. So the given is the number of real estate agents and the marginal product or number of additional units sold per year. Letter A is construct the marginal revenue product schedule by filling in the blanks in the table. So to compute for the marginal revenue revenue product, the rate per unit sold, which is 2,000, multiplied by the marginal product or the number of additional units sold per year. So 2,000 multiplied by 20 is 40,000. 2,000 times 17 is 34,000. 2,000 times 15 is 30,000. 12 times 2,000 is 24,000. 2,000 times 8 is 16,000. And 2,000 times 4 is 8,000. Next is if the manager of all city realtors must pay a wage rate of 32,000 per year to get agents who will specialize in selling RTC housing, how many agents should the manager hire and why? So to compute um, for how many agents, marginal revenue product is equals to wage. So MRP is equals to price times marginal product. So 2,000 times 16 is equals to 32,000. So manager should hire 3 or 2 workers as the MRP at 16 MP would be 32,000. So if the wage rate falls to 18,000 per year, how many agents should the manager hire? So like in letter B, it's the same procedure. So 2,000 times 10 is 18,000. So the manager should hire 5 workers and it is based on the table. Next is suppose the RTC raises its commission to 3,000 per unit sold. Now what is the marginal revenue product for each real estate agent employed? So price times the marginal product. So 3,000 times 20 is 60,000. 3,000 times 17 is 51,000. 3,000 times 15 is 45,000. 3,000 times 12 is 36,000. 3,000 times 8 is 24,000. 3,000 times 4 is 12,000. Now that the RTC is paying 3,000 per unit sold, how many agents should the manager hire if the wage rate is 30,000? So same process in letter B and C. Price times the marginal product. So 3,000 times 10 is equals to 30,000. So based on the table, the manager should hire 4 agents. Chapter 12, Managerial Decisions for Firms with Market Power. So number 1, discuss fully the concept of market power in the context of market structure. So market power is the ability of a firm to raise price without losing all its sales. Gives firm ability to raise price above average cost and earn economic profit if demand and cost conditions permit. Number 2 is discuss fully the following characteristics of a monopoly. Number is single seller or producer. A monopolistic market is regulated by single supplier. Hence, the market demand for a product or service is the demand for the product or service provided by the firm. Next is unique product. In a monopolistic market, the product or service provided by the company is unique. There are no close substitutes available in the market. Next is impossible entry. Government licenses patents and copyrights, resource ownership, decreasing total average cost, and significant startup costs are some of the barriers to entry in a monopolistic market. When one supplier controls the production and supply for a certain product or service, other companies are unable to enter the monopolistic market. If the government believes that the product or service provided by the monopoly is necessary for the welfare of the public, the company may not be allowed to exit the market. What is meant by economies of scale? Cite an example. The term economies of scale refers to the advantages that can sometimes occur as a result of increasing the size of a business. For example, a business might enjoy an economy of scale with respect to its bulk purchasing. By buying a large number of products at once, it could negotiate a lower price per unit than its competitors. This would allow the book purchaser to either pass on this benefit to its customers in the form of lower prices or retain that benefit for themselves in the form of a higher profit margin. Next is discuss fully the following characteristics of a monopolistic competition. First is many small sellers. Firm can control its price output policy, so to some extent, it's assumed that any price output policy of a firm will not get reaction from other firms. That means each firm follows the independent price policy. If a firm reduces its price, the gains in sale will be slightly spread over of many of its rivals so that the extent to which each of the rival firms suffers will be very small. Thus, these rival firms will have no reason to react. Next is differentiated products. Firms that operate in a monopolistic market have very similar products but are slightly differentiated to add value over the competition. Real differences are like design, material use, skill, whereas imaginary differences are through advertising, trademark, and so on. Next is easy market entry and exit. New entrants are easily able to enter as there are none or very insignificant barriers to entry. The cost to start a new business is low and the risk involved in failing is also comparatively low. So the incentive to enter the market is high, whereas few tools are needed. In other words, there are many more people who are able and willing to compete. Last number is, in your opinion, in what market structure do manufacturers of COVID-19 vaccine belong to? Why? Explain fully your answer. So for me, COVID-19 vaccine belongs to the monopolistic competition because it has the characteristics of it. Monopolistic competition, like what I've said earlier, is a type of market structure where many companies are present in an industry and they produce similar but differentiated products. So, as we all know, there are many companies producing COVID-19 vaccine, but they are differ in price, level of accuracy, effectivity, and side effects, and how the product is marketed, which is the characteristics of a monopolistic competition. And that would be all. Thank you.